My name is Chris Winker.
You done got a praise step on already.
Good morning and welcome to Making the Law Work for the People, right here on WIDU 1600, sponsored by Brent Adams and Associates. My name is Chris Winker, and I'm one of the litigation attorneys here at the firm. We're a law firm here to help you with some of the legal issues that you may encounter, from workers' compensation to disability claims to compensation for personal injuries or various other situations. We hope you will call us when you need assistance. Our motto here is, don't hesitate, call the 8s. That's 910-888-8888. That number again is 910-888-8888. So if you've been hurt through no fault of your own, don't hesitate, call the 8s. Now, we have several offices across North Carolina. Our main office is located at 119 Lucknow Square in Dunn, North Carolina. That's 119 Lucknow Square in Dunn, North Carolina. We also have an office in Fayetteville. That's at 1300 Pamela Drive. That's 1300 Pamela Drive in Fayetteville. We also have an office in Raleigh. That's actually where I work. I spend most of my time and where I am speaking to you from. The address there is 8222 Creedmoor Road. That's 8222 Creedmoor Road. That's conveniently located just south of I-540 at Creedmoor Road. Very easy to get here and get to wherever else you may need to go. We have an office in Southern Pines. That's at 105 Massachusetts Avenue. Again, that's 105 East Massachusetts Avenue. We also can be found online. You can see us at brentadams.com. That's brentadams.com. You can look us up on Google. If you just Google Brent Adams and Associates, you'll see our Google listing there. You can read some of the feedback and reviews that some of our clients and people we've worked with have left for us. If you feel like you've benefited from some of our work, whether it's this radio program or work that we have done for you, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review on that Google listing. It's very much appreciated, and it helps us out a great deal. You can also find us on Facebook and other social media. Again, just search for Brent Adams and Associates, and you'll find our listings there. You can find out a little bit more about the firm, about some of the people who work here, and some of the work that we do. Sometimes we'll post little videos and stuff like that. So it's a good way to get to know us a little more socially on our social media. Now, a little word about our firm's founder, Brent Adams. He's still in practice and has been in practice for over 50 years. I think nearly my entire life, that man has been practicing law. And he has a wealth of experience. He has done and seen nearly everything that can be done or seen in personal injury law. And he has also written several books. These titles include 10 Costly Mistakes That Can Wreck Your North Carolina Case, also How to Get Top Dollar for Your Workers' Compensation Claim, and The Truth About Medical Malpractice Claims. Now, each of these books are available on Amazon.com and I think maybe even some other online retailers. But if you call our office by dialing the 8s, 910-888-8888, and tell us that you're a faithful listener of WIDU 1600 and Making the Law Work for the People, we will follow up with a copy of one of Mr. Adams's books, and maybe if we can catch him when he's not busy doing all of his other work, we can get him to sign it. Well, those of you who are regular listeners to the program know that we like to talk about tips and pointers about the law, personal injury, disability, workers' compensation, the areas that we know quite well. And today, I want to give y'all a bit of guidance on what to do if you have been involved in a car crash. Uh, Car crashes constitute probably 80% of the work that our personal injury attorneys here handle. And there are four of us. Besides myself, we have Diana Devine. We have also Amy Nwabike. And then the big boss, the firm's founder, Brent Adams. There are some other attorneys who help out occasionally with personal injury claims. Emily Hickman is one of them. And overall, amongst the four or five of us, we see the vast majority of cases are car crash cases, which makes sense, right? Almost everybody is in a car at some point, usually every day, and driving around all that much with all those other people puts people in situations where they get involved in a crash. On my way to taking my daughter to school today, I happened to see the aftermath of a crash that looked like it had just happened, and it seemed like it was pretty serious. There was a semi-tractor and trailer involved in a collision with a small SUV. I think it might have been a Jeep. And I could see as I passed that the airbags on the Jeep had deployed and it had completely lost one of its wheels. Like the whole entire wheel plus that axle were laying some 40 or 50 feet away from this vehicle. Now, fortunately, it appeared that everybody involved was ambulatory, walking around on their own power, and they seemed like they were doing okay. So hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, you can't see it, but I am, they are all going to be okay. But even so, there are things that they should do and things that you should do if you're involved in a car crash that will help you and us deal with both your injuries in the crash itself and the case that should probably come along afterwards. So, the very first thing that you should do if you're involved in a car crash, actually even before you're involved in the car crash, you should always wear your seatbelt. Absolutely, you should always wear your seatbelt. I know that it's the law, but even if it wasn't a law, you should wear your seatbelt. It helps. It really does. I know there are people who feel it's unnecessary, that it gets in the way, that it messes up their clothes, especially if they're dressed nicely for court or church or something like that. But you should wear your seatbelt, folks. Absolutely. Every single time you get in the car, even if you're not moving. I have had cases where people were in stationary vehicles and they got hit. Just because you're not moving, that doesn't mean you can't be involved in a crash. So please, please, everyone, wear your seatbelts each and every time you get in the vehicle. From the time you first get into it until the time you reach your destination and you're getting out of that vehicle, buckle up. Not only is it the law, but it is really good advice. It's the smart thing to do. Then be on the lookout. As you're driving around or if you're riding as a passenger, look around. Life is passing you by as you're driving along in this vehicle. Take a look at it. See what's outside. But that can also help you see if there's a traffic situation that might result in an accident. Don't get buried in your phone, especially if you're driving. Do not use your phone while you are driving, please. I have seen a lot of distracted drivers get into crashes, and typically those crashes are even worse because they were distracted. They didn't have the time to stomp on the brakes because they didn't notice that they were about to hit something. So please, in addition to wearing your seatbelt, do not use your phone. But if you do both of these things and you still cannot avoid a crash, the very first thing that you should do is make sure that you and all of the other occupants in the vehicle are okay. Check on yourself. check on the others. Make sure everybody is conscious. If somebody looks like they're injured, take note of that. And then call 911 and ask for appropriate help. If there is somebody in your vehicle who's unconscious or bleeding profusely, or you can see a bone sticking out of them, or they're obviously otherwise seriously injured, let the 911 operator know. You've got to let them know that kind of stuff. It's very important that they know these things so they can send the appropriate response. For example, if you're trapped inside the car, they're going to need somebody with the jaws of life to come and extricate you from the car. If they know that as soon as you call them, they can get them on the way. They can get that to your location nearly immediately. It's amazing how quickly emergency crews respond to scenes. They can get there in about 5 or 10 minutes at the most a lot of times. So let them know everything that's happening in your vehicle. If it is safe to do so, you can get out of the vehicle. But it's only safe if you can see that there's no hazards outside your vehicle, there's no fire or debris that you might get hurt on, or something like that. And check on the occupants of the other vehicle. But if there's any question about whether or not you've been injured or there's some kind of hazard outside the vehicle, stay put. Just call 911 and wait for them to get there. The same goes for the occupants of your vehicle. If you can see that they are injured and they're trying to get out, tell them, stay put. Stay where you are. Don't move. Help is on the way. Now, once that help arrives, it is very important that you follow their instructions. If emergency crews come up and they say, okay, you can get out of the vehicle, do it. If they say get out of the vehicle, do that with some purpose. If they need your help with anything, they will let you know. You do not need to step in and render your assistance. They know what they're doing. They're trained. They're experienced. They deal with that stuff on a daily basis. So let them decide whether or not you need to do anything. But when they do decide that, when they tell you, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, you should do it because it's typically going to be for your safety. Now, if you have questions about any of this that I have discussed so far, please don't hesitate. Give us a call and ask. Dial the 8s, 910-888-8888. Again, dial the 8s, 910-888-8888. We have a lot of very friendly and professional people here who are just waiting for your call and would love to help you figure out what's going on with your situation. So if you've been in a crash and you have questions about what to do, don't hesitate. Dial the 8s. That's 910-888-8888. Now, once you have dealt with the immediate aftermath of a crash, right? You've gotten out of the vehicle, you're being seen by medical personnel or firefighters are doing something with your vehicle, you're speaking to the police, giving them your version of what happened, telling them how everything went down. Once you are okay and stable, take some notes. Take some pictures. There is nothing wrong with documenting what happened while it's fresh in your head. Now, that's, of course, assuming that you can do so, right? If you need to go to the hospital, if you have a concussion and you lost consciousness and you're not even sure what's going on, don't fret about documenting the scene. The very first priority always in a personal injury case is your health, your wellness, getting better, getting as close to normal as you were before the crash as you can. Nothing else should take priority over that. Don't put yourself in any risk or cause yourself any harm because you think you've got to take some pictures. But if everything is okay, if you're able to walk around without problem and you're waiting for them to decide what to do, take some pictures. Take pictures of everything. Take pictures of the street. Take pictures of the lights. Take pictures of the vehicles. Take pictures of anything that you see. You never know when some little tiny piece of information, some itty-bitty bit of some photograph might make a big difference in your case. So don't be afraid of taking too many pictures. You can't do that. I would much rather have a couple hundred pictures and have one of them be exactly what I need in the clutch at a critical point in a case than to have 5 good photographs of a vehicle but nothing to show that the ground was clear and the road was dry and clear and there were no gravel or debris or anything on it if I need that. I hope that makes sense to you all. Just take pictures. Look around and take pictures of whatever you see, even if it's just the road. If you see skid marks, take pictures of those, right? If there are skid marks that are behind the other vehicle, that probably shows they hit their brakes. If there are no skid marks, that's even more important, right? And most people don't think about that. They look at the car and they think, oh, well, I need to take a picture of this car to show that it crashed into me, and you can see that the front end of it is damaged. But a lot of people don't think to take pictures of the road behind that car. That can be really important. If we can demonstrate that there were no skid marks, that means that whoever hit you going full speed. They didn't hit the brakes. That can sometimes be important. So it just goes to show you that there can be a lot of different things that you should be taking pictures of that you wouldn't normally think about. This is just an example of one of those kinds of things. So fill up your phone with pictures. Take as many as you possibly can. But also take a few notes if you need to. If you have some scratch paper and something to write with, or if you just have a notes application on your phone, either way, that is fine. Jot down your immediate impressions. I remember we were going this way, and I saw this vehicle coming from this place, and I could see that the person wasn't looking at me, and then there was a crash. If that is all you can remember, that right there is great. That gives me a few pieces of really important information that I can use to help you with your case. So again, documenting the scene can be very helpful. A lot of people expect that the police will do a thorough and exhaustive job of that, and they a lot of times won't because they've got a lot of things that they have to take care of, a lot of paperwork. You might be surprised at how much paperwork police officers do, even though they make jokes about it on TV and in the movies a lot. Police officers have to fill out probably 10 different forms in a crash. And so having to do all that paperwork, sometimes they don't think to take pictures of the scene. They're typically not required to do so, and so they won't. So you can't rely on anyone else, not the police officers, not the first responders, the emergency crew, the rescue squad. You can't count on them to document the scene, to take that evidence for you, because they have other things that they are working on. They have a different job to do. That job does not include building your personal injury case. So you should do that. It's very important right after the crash, as long as you're well and as long as you don't need to go to the hospital right away. If you're just standing around and, your back hurts, your foot hurts, something like that, but you don't need emergency transport and you're waiting for the police or the firefighters to tell you it's okay to go, document, take pictures. If you can't do that at the scene, go back later. If you can find your vehicle, if it's been towed, and you can find it at the tow yard, go take some pictures of it. They will let you go see your own vehicle. Sometimes they'll fuss about it, but it's your vehicle. You should be entitled to go and collect some personal effects from it and take some pictures of it. That is something that you should be allowed to do pretty much any tow yard. Go and document that. Again, make some notes. As soon as you have some memory that you can recall and jot down those notes, do that. If you can go to the scene and see what the conditions of the scene are or were at the time, go and document that. Make a note if it's a different time of day or if the weather is different or something like that, right? But you can go and take pictures of the scene. That would be good. All right. Well, it is getting to be the bottom of the hour, and so we are going to have to take a short little break so that you can hear some words from our sponsors. But when we get back, I will continue telling you about what you should do when you've had a car crash, how you can help yourself, and how you can help your case. Until then, enjoy these brief messages.
Hi, my name is Apostle Preston Davis Jr., Senior Pastor of True Love Church International, and you're listening to Wake Up.
Community leaders from across the Blue Ridge Parkway corridor are coming together this week for the third annual Blue Ridge Rising Two-State Summit. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has announced a new round of sanctions aimed at Iran. He also warned Monday that every country that does business with the Islamic Republic to sever those financial ties will face retaliation from the U.S. Meanwhile, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says the new Canada tariffs cover about 0.6% of U.S. consumption. The vast majority of goods that American small businesses trade in are made in the U.S. or duty-free. The likelihood that the next named storm of the season, Dolly, could pop up in the Atlantic soon is increasing, and the system is worth watching in the Caribbean and Atlantic coasts. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Recreation says they are excited to open the newly transformed courts at Tokay Park. Join them Wednesday, August 26th at 9 a.m. for the ribbon cutting and the debut of 10 pickleball courts and 3 tennis courts. The courts are freshly painted and ready for play. Join the city for a stormwater education workshop. This is August 26th, 3 until 4 p.m. at Fayetteville City Hall at 433 Hay Street in Fayetteville. Learn how to prevent stormwater pollution, avoid potential violations, and protect local waterways. Get practical tips for managing grease, waste, and chemicals, all designed to help keep your business safe and compliant. If you've been thinking about adopting a pet, now is the time. Cumberland County Animal Services has waived adoption fees through Saturday, August 29th. That means 0 adoption fees for dogs, cats, puppies, kittens, and other animals waiting to find their forever homes. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
This Tuesday morning, starting out with a breath of fresh air. Things feeling really good out there as we go throughout the rest of our Tuesday. We'll see temperatures make it into the middle to upper 80s this afternoon under a mainly sunny sky. Overnight, it's a mainly clear sky. Temperatures will drop into the low to mid 60s. Wednesday, a warmer day with highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s, and a stray shower or thunderstorm heading into the evening. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team. Join Wake Up.
Ladies, it's your time to shine. Join Faith Tabernacle Christian Center for a weekend of ministry, fellowship, and fun during our Sisters Retreat 2026 in Myrtle Beach, October 2nd through 4th, hosted by Pastor Denise Goings. This wonderful retreat will take place in Myrtle Beach and will include transportation by a chartered coach to and from Myrtle Beach, 2-night stay at a luxurious oceanfront property, 2 meals, several life-changing seminars and workshops throughout the weekend by Pastor Denise Goings and others. T-shirts, door prizes, and much more. All this for the early bird rate of just $300 per person. In a double bedroom with a 2 or 3 bedroom condo, a deposit of at least $75 is needed to register. Registration is open until September 20th, but space is limited. So go online and register now. Don't miss this opportunity to get away and fellowship during this life-changing weekend for ladies only. To register, call 910-865-5252 or visit us online at ftccenter.org.
Hi, this is T.W. Campbell.
And I'm Patricia Campbell
of the Refuge Community Church, located at 2314 L.A. Dunham Road here in the God Bless city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can reach us at area code 910-483-6477. We're here to invite you to our early morning service each Sunday morning beginning at 8:30 in the morning. Our prayer is at 6 o'clock, intercessory prayer. Bible studies at 7 o'clock, which now is our Sunday school at night, and which we call the Word on Wednesday. Come and be a part of a growing community. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Wake up, wake up. You've got the power. Wake up, wake up.
Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking. Time for thinking ahead.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is Apostle Norman Wilson Neal
and Evangelist Carolyn Murphy,
a Word of Life teaching and deliverance broadcast, and you are listening to Wake Up.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Hello, this is Kevin Wester of Destiny Real Estate, and you are listening to Wake Up.
This is Bishop Johnny Ray Jr. of the Churches of Worship Worldwide, Apostle J.A. McDonough, 2118 Owen Drive. And we are proud to be a part of the Wake Up. Come and join the team.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Heavy load, heavy load.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Making the Law Work for the People, hosted by Brent Adams and Associates here on WIDU 1600. Again, my name is Chris Winker, and I'm one of the litigation attorneys here at the firm. We're a law firm that helps people who have been hurt through no fault of their own. So if you have a situation involving workers' compensation, that is, you've been hurt at work, or disability, that is, you have been hurt and can no longer work, or personal injury, just you've been hurt through no fault of your own and you need appropriate compensation for your injuries to pay your medical bills and other things, don't hesitate. Call us by dialing the 8s. That's 910-888-8888. That number again is 910-888-8888. You can also find us online. Go to brentadams.com and you'll find our website. It has contact information for us, the locations of our various offices, including our headquarters at 119 Lucknow Square in Dunn. Again, that's 119 Lucknow Square in Dunn, North Carolina. Our Fayetteville office, which is located at 1300 Pamela Drive, Suite A, Again, that's 1300 Pamela Drive, Suite A in Fayetteville. The Raleigh office is where I am located. You can find us at 8222 Creedmoor Road. That's 8222 Creedmoor Road in Raleigh, North Carolina. Or you can go to our Southern Pines office, which is at 105 East Massachusetts Avenue. That's 105 East Massachusetts Avenue in Southern Pines, North Carolina. That office is beautiful. The whole town is gorgeous. Please stop by and visit us there. You can also find us by Googling us. If you Google Brent Adams and Associates, you'll find our Google Sites listing that has great information about the firm and also has a lot of reviews from our clients and people that we have worked with through the years. Again, if you have enjoyed this program and found it helpful to you, or if you are a client or a former client or somebody that we've worked with and you've appreciated our work in any of those areas, please go to our Google site and leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that positive feedback. I often say that in life, you only get the negative feedback. You don't get the positive feedback, and we don't. We don't get enough positive feedback, any of us. So make your day and someone else's day a little brighter by leaving that positive feedback and that 5-star review. You can also find us on social media, to include Facebook and I believe Instagram. By searching for Brent Adams and Associates, you'll find our social pages there where you can get to know the people who work at our firm a little better. And sometimes we'll post little video snippets that showcase our personalities. You can also pick up some useful tips and tricks and pointers by visiting our social media. Well, back to the topic at hand. Before the break, I was talking about what to do if you've been involved in a crash. And we had just discussed documenting the scene. If you can do so safely without endangering your health and you're waiting for things to happen, document the scene. If there's someone else there who isn't hurt and they can do that, ask them to. Take pictures of everything. And then as they wheel you off into the ambulance, you can be assured that someone's taking care of that for you. But after that, after you've left the scene and you've gone to the hospital perhaps, or you've gone home and you feel like you're sore, you're hurt, and you know you need some medical help, and you go to get some medical treatment, perhaps you go to urgent care the very next day. The next thing that you can do after documenting the scene is get help, get treatment. Talk to a doctor or a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, a chiropractor, whoever it is that you want to go to get some help for your injuries. Do that. Talk to them. Find out what they think. Make sure that you tell them everything that you can think of about what happened. Sometimes it's very important for a doctor to know that you were hit from behind or that you were hit from the side. If your car rolled over, they're going to want to know that. As much information as you can give them will be helpful so that they can use that to figure out exactly what they call the mechanism of injury was. And that can make a big difference in the way that they approach your treatment. If they know that the airbags deployed and that you hit them, that will give them something that they need to look at. Now, if you can't remember anything, or if you're unconscious and you can't communicate with them, just trust in their skill, their capabilities, and their judgment. Medical professionals have that job for a reason. They're there to help people, and they go to a lot of school, whether it's an MD, an emergency room doctor, or a triage nurse. They have years of training and education in their job. They know what they are doing. So rely on their judgment. But make sure that you also understand what's going on and what they are talking about. So as part of getting your treatment, talk to them and ask them to explain things to you. Ask questions. If you don't understand what they mean by a contusion, ask. Part of their job should be to explain things to you in a way that you can understand so that you can take an active part in your recovery. It's important for you to be in the driver's seat, pardon the pun, when it comes to getting better after your car crash. So find out about that. Ask questions. Also, ask them to document these things. If you tell them, I was in a car crash and I was hit from behind and my head snapped forward and backwards and I got whiplash, make sure they put that in your chart and ask them to include the fact that it was from the car crash. Medical documentation is critical to a good personal injury case. Far too many times, I receive medical records from one of my clients, doctors or nurses or something, that makes no mention of a car crash. And although I can use the fact that there was a crash and you were just at the doctor right after that to show it was because of the car crash, sometimes an insurance adjuster will argue with me that this has nothing to do with car crash. It doesn't say anything about that in there. There's an old saying among medical professionals that if it's not in the chart, it didn't happen. If it's not in the records, it didn't happen. And that's exactly what we run into. So ask them to put that in your record. Make sure that they document all of that. Also, make sure that they hear all of your problems, that they hear all of your symptoms, everything that's bothering you. Tell them about it. Talk to them about it. Ask them to document that too. Get everything in your records about all of your problems, everything that you're concerned about. Sometimes medical professionals will seem to brush off your concerns, right? Oh, that's not really such a big deal. Don't worry about it. You can take that and feel better about it, but you should also ask them to document it. Just say, please, would you put that in my record? You can put that we discussed it and you advised me that it's not a problem, but I'd like it to be in there, please. And they have an obligation to keep accurate records. So when you ask them to put that in there, they should comply with your request and make sure that they do that. Because you never know when down the road one of those concerns might turn into something that is now a big deal that your medical professionals are going to have to look at. And they're going to have to figure out what is causing this problem. And if you complained about it months ago, they may see that it was something that developed early on, but it didn't show a lot of symptoms, right? So again, advocate for yourself. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your nurse. Whoever it is that's giving you health care, talk to them about whatever is bothering you, whatever problems you have, whatever injuries, whatever difficulties. Ask questions. Ask them to put it in your record. Get all of that in there. Now, once you have done all of that, once you've gotten the very beginnings of your medical care started, they've treated the really important, serious emergency issues, and now you're stabilized, you may still need to go to follow-up treatment and exams and stuff like that, but you're doing okay. The next thing you should do is call an attorney. There's nothing wrong with getting some legal advice when you've been hurt in a car crash. Consult with somebody who knows what they're doing, such as the attorneys that we have here at Brent Adams and Associates. Again, if you've been hurt, don't hesitate. call the 8s. That's 910-888-8888. Again, that number is 910-888-8888. So that should be after you've done all of the things that are urgent, that are important, right? Getting out of the car, making sure you're okay, getting some treatment, and if you can along the way, snap a whole bunch of pictures. Then go call an attorney. Tell them what happened. If you call us here, the very first thing that we will do is we will have somebody get in touch with you. They'll give you some paperwork, sign up, give us the paperwork back, and then we will have someone ask you what happened. And actually, we may have several people ask you what happened because we want to make sure that we get all of the information we need. And sometimes that requires 2 or 3 different people asking some of the same questions. And that sometimes can seem frustrating to people. I've talked to clients who have said, wow, you're the third person who's asked me this question. Don't you guys read each other's notes? And the truth is, yeah, we do. But sometimes the same bit of information is useful in different contexts, in different places. So we may ask you a question that is a follow-up to 4 or 5 other questions that we asked you about something totally different. And we want to make sure that those other questions didn't make you think of something that you hadn't thought of the first 1 or 2 times that you answered the question. So please, have patience. Understand that we're doing our job. We know what we're doing, and we are asking all of these questions for a reason. But we'll ask you a bunch of questions. We'll ask you to explain what happened. And that's where all of those notes that you've taken, those photographs that you've taken, your recollection of what happened, and your medical records will be really helpful. Now, you don't necessarily have to know everything yourself. It's okay. Especially if it's been a pretty serious car crash, there is going to be a lot of adrenaline at the scene, and you're probably going to be in some pain, and so you may not remember things. You may forget about something. You may not have even noticed something because you were focused on other things. Don't worry if you don't know the answer to every question that we ask you. It's okay. It'll be all right. There are plenty of sources of information that we use when we are pressing a case. Those include our clients' notes and recollections, the photos, the police report, the EMS report, all of the medical records, and sometimes statements from other witnesses. You can't remember all of those things. It's just not possible for one person to remember every single bit of information from every resource in their case. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just answer the questions to the best of your ability, as best you can remember what happened, and we'll take it from there. It's important to be entirely honest when you're talking to your attorney. They need to know everything. All of the good things about your case, but especially the bad things about your case. So if there's some concern you have that maybe you didn't do something right and may have contributed to the accident, we need to know that. We need to know that right away. If you have some pre-existing medical issue that affects how you got hurt in the crash. For example, if you had back surgery a year before the crash, and then when you got hurt in the crash, it aggravated that back injury, we need to know that. We absolutely have to know all about that because it will come up. Eventually it will come up. And the worst thing as a litigation attorney for me to learn is something that my client never told me that the other side is telling me as a way to undermine the case. It's terrible to get bad information from the other side that your client knew. So please, tell us everything. Everything that you think might even have something to do with the case. We need to know that. You probably are aware that there's such a thing as attorney-client privilege, right? We've heard about that on TV or in the movies or maybe just through our daily lives, and it is real. It exists. And the attorney-client privilege says anything that my client tells me or the people that work for me is privileged, and we cannot tell that to anyone else unless our client says we can or a judge orders us to, and even then, there's a question about whether or not we really need to reveal that. I will tell you, in the 24 years that I have been practicing, I have never been ordered to reveal a client communication, and I've never even heard of someone being ordered to do so. Your secrets are safe with us, so please tell us everything. And then follow our advice. You called us for a reason. You called us because we know what we're doing. This is our job. We're good at this. We know what we're talking about. So when we give you some advice, please follow it. If you have questions, ask them. If you're not sure that it's a good idea, say so. If you think that some other course of action would be better, we want to hear it. We'll talk to you about it. We'll sort it all out. We'll go through all the different options and come to a decision together about what would be best. But if you've given us your best pitch for why you should go to Vietnam for a particular medical treatment, and we say, no, I don't think you should do that, it would be best for you to listen to our advice. And then talk to your doctors. Continue with your treatment. Make sure that anything that is bothering you is taken care of. Sometimes you won't be able to get back to 100%. Unfortunately, sometimes car crashes cause permanent problems. But you should be able to get back as close as is possible to what you were like before the crash. And the best way to do that is to talk to your medical professionals. Talk to your healthcare people. Listen to what your doctor says. Tell your doctor what your problems are. Make sure that they listen and they address them. Be an active participant in your treatment. This is going to last for as long as you feel that way. We may finish your case, and you might still need treatment. And we will do so with an eye towards getting you compensation to pay for that treatment in the future. Don't worry about that. We've got that covered. But your number one priority through all of this, and I hope you've picked up on this, top priority is taking care of yourself, making sure you get better. And the best way to do that is to be an active participant in your care and recovery by communicating with your doctors, doing what they say, making sure they understand everything they need to know about what's wrong with you, and that they are addressing that. So if you've been in a wreck and your back hurts, but your knee also hurts, and your doctor is only looking at your back, make sure they don't forget about your knee. You need to have them address everything. But as long as what they're doing is working, if it feels like it's making you feel better, follow through with it. Don't stop just because you start to feel better, thinking, okay, well, I'm done. Everything's going to be better. They're giving you whatever course of treatment it is for a reason. And so you should listen to what they say and make sure to follow through with it. And then when they say, all right, you are at the point where you're as good as we're going to be able to help you get. We're going to have some follow-on treatment for you, but there's not going to be any more surgeries or active treatment. You don't need to be seeing us so much anymore. When you're at that point, then you can relax and not advocate for yourself so much for your treatment. And that, my friends, is the best advice I can give you here on the radio for what you should do if you've been involved in a car crash. Let's just summarize that. First, call 911, right? Check on everybody. Make sure that everybody is still breathing. Check to see if there are any really serious injuries, if someone's unconscious or bleeding profusely or anything like that. Address that with the 911 operator. Get help to your scene as soon as possible. Follow their advice. Make sure that they're taking care of everyone. Then, if it's okay, if it's safe for you to do so and it's not going to cause you any more problems, document everything. Take as many pictures as you can. If you want to take some video, go for it. Document the scene as much as you can. Go get treatment. Go get those emergency things taken care of. Get your wounds addressed. Talk to those people and make sure they document everything too. And then call your attorneys. Don't hesitate. Dial the 8s. Call 910-888-8888 and tell us what happened. We'll ask you a bunch of questions. We'll get your case started. And then continue with your treatment until you get as close to 100% as you can get. If you do these things, your case will go much better, I assure you. If you don't, you'll probably end up okay, but it'll make your case a lot harder to deal with. And that's the advice that I have for you today. Again, this isn't legal advice. We don't have an attorney-client relationship, but keep these things in mind. Hopefully you'll never need to use them, but if you do, remember they're there. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to me today. Again, this has been Making the Law Work for the People on 1600 WIDU, sponsored by Brent Adams and Associates. If you need help because you've been hurt, whether it's in an accident, at work, or you're unable to work anymore, don't hesitate. Call the 8s. 910-888-8888. Thank you, everyone.